This stuff, I've got a doctor's appointment in the morning, and then now they tell me my iron is really low. No, I'm going to Piedmont. They have a whole cancer department that's connected with MD Anderson out of Houston. But it's, I'm going tomorrow to get an IV iron infusion, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she goes to the county that way to know that it's been a miracle for her. She has that.
I'm doing 3 treatments over the next week, and she said, the doctor said, well, look, it's going to make you feel a lot better. You're struggling with fatigue, right? I said, oh, yeah. And he said, when the iron gets back up, you're going to feel so much better. I'm like, because that's my biggest complaint.
Right.
I'm dragging, I'm falling asleep, sitting up. Yeah, that's a big part of it.
You feel a whole lot better once you start getting it.
I'm planning on it.
I will follow you tomorrow, but you just call me whenever you
Yeah,
feel
tomorrow I can. And then the next infusion is Monday, so it'll be after Monday.
Okay. Okay, take care.
Councilmember Miller. Not the Mayor Pro Tem, but the other Miller. I think she's coming. She's MIA? We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session for today, which is Thursday, September the 17th. We'll have our invocation by Pastor Gene Fields of Heritage Baptist Church. And after that, our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, by mere definition, this prayer is a prayer of invocation, of inviting. So, Father, we invite you to come into this room, Father. Father, I'm so thankful that we have the opportunity in this setting to be able to just pray openly to you, Father. Father, we don't take that lightly. Father, I ask that as you have entered this room, Father, through your Spirit, Father, that you give wisdom and your heart to our city council and our mayor, Father. Father, I'm thankful for them, and I ask protection over them, as I do for all of our first responders and those that serve our community. Father, I'm thankful that you have given a passion and a love for our community to this council and our mayor. Father, we are so blessed. Father, I thank you that you have given us this day. Father, regardless how we have responded, regardless how we feel about the things that have happened, Father, it's a gift because you love us, and everything is an outpouring of your love. Father, I just thank you for your son, Jesus. In his name I pray. Amen. The United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem and Pastor Fields. We really appreciate you coming in this evening. We apologize to those who tuned in that we are a little bit behind. We had some lengthy interviews in our committee meetings, so we apologize that we didn't start right at 6 o'clock and that we started about 6:20. But I'd like to welcome you to the City of Douglasville's City Council legislative meeting. I'm Douglasville's Mayor Rochelle Robinson. Tonight's meeting is being conducted in whole or in part by teleconference. The elected officials and individuals with agenda items are present, and we do have one council member that is with us remotely. Those wishing to comment during a public hearing or comments from citizens and delegates will be allowed to do so via audio on the Zoom software. This open meeting of the Douglasville Mayor and City Council is being conducted by teleconference consistent with the official code of Georgia, annotated section 50-141G, due to emergency conditions involving public safety in order to mitigate the transmission of the coronavirus and to reduce risk of COVID-19 illness. That code section, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows local governments to meet by teleconference in the event of emergency, so long as means are afforded to, for the public to have simultaneous access to the teleconference meeting. For this meeting, we are convening partially by Zoom software as shown on the city's website, describing how the public may join, which is via YouTube media platform. Applicants and all other participants be advised that this meeting will allow public comments as well, and even if members of the public do not provide comment, participants are advised that people may be listening who do not give public comments, and listeners are not required to identify themselves. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. This is a work session. We will take action, not take any action tonight. So all the information that we're receiving tonight is to help us to make our decisions as we vote next Monday. If the business that any citizen wishes to speak on is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the items, comments from citizens and delegates for you to discuss any other business related to or pending potential city business. Just a few protocol issues I'd like to go over, and then we can start the meeting and look at the agenda that is presented on the screen or outside. There are paper agendas at the desk. I ask that you would keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You receive a warning from the chair the first time, and if you deviate from that requirement, a second deviation will result in the chair discontinuing your opportunity to speak. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not distribute or be disruptive or give out any information or talk to the audience. When you come to speak to the podium, please give us your name and address for the record. And if you have a cell phone or other electronic devices, we ask that you would put those in the power off or silent mode so they won't be disruptive. Now, the agenda items will be handled as the following. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item. After that, the committee chair will ask for comments or statements from the audience. There is a maximum of 20 minutes per agenda item for those to speak in favor and 20 minutes for those to speak in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes. If there's a group of people and you need to split up your time, you can do 3 minutes or so a person, but in total, everyone has 20 minutes per side. Please, again, fill out the speaker form, or when you come forward, give your name and address for the record. No forms will be accepted after the meeting is convened. Myself and council members will possibly ask questions and try to get an understanding so that we'll be prepared to vote on Monday. So those are all the protocol that we're going through this evening, and now we'll move on with the agenda as printed and on the screen, or if you have a paper one. We do have announcements and a presentation. We have a presentation to Michelle Wright in appreciation for 25 years of service to the city of Douglasville. She is getting ready to retire and make homemade wine and cook and have her own cooking show or something. So let's just give her a hand before I call her and her family up for the service. I'll just read a little bit of what Ms. Wright has done in the city of Douglasville, and then we have a plaque for you, Michelle, and your family to come up and receive. Michelle graduated with a bachelor's degree from California Polytech State University, School of Environmental Design, Architecture, Landscape Architect, and Urban Planning. Michelle is also a graduate of the University of Georgia's Carl Vinston Institute and Management Development Program and the Georgia Academy for Economic Development. Michelle has been working as a planning director manager in the city of Douglasville's Community Development Department for 25 years. Michelle has worked in various positions such as planning, zoning, sign permits, transportation, code enforcement, historic preservation, and bicycle pedestrian information or issues. Michelle is a certified planner with the American Institute of Certified Planners, AICP, and Michelle is certified in transportation planning with the Georgia Department of Transportation. Michelle has served as the Leadership Douglas Chairman, and she actually advised me in 2009 to attend Leadership Douglas, and I appreciate that. It really helped me to understand the community better. The Bicycle Pedestrian Committee, the Atlanta Regional Commission, ARC, Transportation Committee, the Transportation Coordinating Committee, TCC, and ARC's Land Use Coordinating Committee, LUCC. ARC's Homeless Committee, and was the 2014 Employee of the Year. Over the years, Michelle has worked on many projects that you've seen throughout this community, and I'll just name a few because we wouldn't have time to name everything. We'd be here until 8 or 10 o'clock tonight, Miss Michelle. But the Liverpool Center's Initiatives LCI plan for the city, Dallas Highway Coordinator plan, the Northside Trails plan, State Route 92 relocation project, intersection improvements all over the city, sidewalks and lighting and banners, plaza, the Welcome Center, many sidewalks in the downtown area. She's done a mall study, Green Communities program. You've helped to raise us from bronze, I think, to silver, and Riverside Parkway Bridge. Just to name a few. Michelle has brought many projects, grants, and funds into this community. In her downtime, she enjoys reading books, cooking, barbecuing, spending time with her family, and traveling. She has 3 grown children whom she loves dearly. We know all about you because she talks about you all the time, which is very good. It's her passion. And she and her husband have been married. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to work for the book now. You've been married for 32 years, happily married for 32 years. So, Michelle, if you don't mind, after I read this plaque, if you want to come to the microphone and you'd like to say anything, we'd love to hear from you, and then we'll take a socially distanced picture with you. It says, Douglasville, Georgia presents this to Michelle Wright, this plaque in appreciation of 25 years of service from 1995 until 2020. Best wishes for a long and happy retirement from the Mayor and City Council and all of your friends at the City of Douglasville. Let's please give her a hand and have her come up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to say it's been a good experience working here. I think Douglasville was very good to me, and I've really enjoyed it throughout the years, and I really like the community, and I hope that I was able to do a lot for the community, so thank you.
You're welcome. Miss Michelle, you will be sorely missed. Miss Wright, you have put breadcrumbs all over the city, so we'll still continue to see you and all those lives that you've influenced within the departments. We will see an imprint of you. It's like a fingerprint. You can't get rid of it. So we appreciate your time. You know, it's been blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of love that you've put your personality into the city. So you've helped women leaders in the city of Douglasville. You've paved the way for a lot of women leaders being with the city for 25 years. So I don't know what we're going to do with the ARC and all of those committees that you've helped to implement and to lead, but we will see your work for years and years to come. So thank you for everything that you've done for us. And I'll open the floor for any council members. I'll stop babbling if anyone wants to say anything. Yes, sir, Mr.
I'd just like to know what you're going to do with your retirement, because you've been here so long for so many long days and nights and long weekends at times. What's up?
Well, actually, I wanted to travel, but I don't think I'll probably be able to do that maybe for a year or so. We'll see what goes on with the COVID-19. But I do have some other projects planned and things, and I actually keep very busy, especially on the weekends, so when I'm home.
Thank you for what you've done, Michelle.
Thank
Appreciate all that you've done for the city.
Yes, sir. I'll go in this area. Coach Watts or Councilman Estes. Anything? Mayor Pro Tem?
I will say that I've had the privilege of working with Ms. Wright on both sides of the table, as a private citizen and as a councilman, and you know, she's always put the city first. She's always had the city's best interest closest to her heart, and it's evident in what you said about, you know, there's a little bit of her everywhere in the city. You'll see no matter where you go, and that's a supreme honor to have. So thank you for your service.
Oh, Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Thank you, Ms. Wright. And when I look out my shop and see them sidewalks, I said, Ms. Wright and them curves, Ms. Wright got it done. And thanks a lot. Looking forward to the bicycle and pedestrian path. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilman Miller in.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wright, for your many years of service and dedication and love to this community. And enjoy your projects. They're much deserved. So.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Dr. LaShun Danley.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Michelle, this is so bittersweet for me. You have been absolutely genuine. You're passionate at what you do. You've been out in the community, making phone calls at meetings, up early, staying late, making phone calls. Just the list goes on and on. As much as I do not want to see you leave the city of Douglasville, I'm so happy that you are going to retire and enjoy your family and just enjoy life. So thank you for being an employee. Thank you for being such a wonderful friend. And good blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager, would you like to say anything from the staff? And Ms. Wright, I'm always open to more cakes and whatever you want to cook and bring in, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Earlier today, Patrice Williams, Department Director, pulled a Zoom retirement party together for Ms. Wright, and she got an opportunity to hear from us. And I'll just echo what I said earlier today. From a personal standpoint, Michelle has always been willing to step in and to help. She helped the Community Development Department when we were short-staffed for a long period of time, and many of you all remember that. She's always open and willing to chat and talk about your family. So, you know, many of us who have been here for a long time, Michelle knows our children. She knew when they were born, and many of them teenagers and adults. So she is a great employee for the city. She will very well be missed.
Yes.
When you lose someone for 25 years, you don't just lose their experience, but you lose the stories and you lose part of your family. So she will be sorely missed by all of us, but we really and truly appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with someone so that they can see retirement. So
That's right.
we definitely say congratulations to you and to your family, and to enjoy.
Oh, thank you so much, City Manager. Now we'll come around. Your husband and sons, you want to come up?
this
And I
is-
know we have some, Miss Regina.
This is my husband, Hank Wright, and then this is my son, Joseph Wright, and Alex Wright, that are here with me tonight. My daughter couldn't be with us, but supposedly she's watching on Zoom or whatever.
Yes,
they're doing.
ma'am.
She's
Aw.
in Nashville.
Oh, she's in Nashville. It's a nice area. So we'll come, council members. I don't know how we'll just put on our mask and try to come around and take a photo. And I know Miss Chapman is here as well from the city. She wanted to come in. Thank you so much again. So now we'll move on with our agenda, and we'll start with our committees. And our first committee is Economic Development Committee, and that's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Finance Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Finance Committee has no business tonight.
Thank you, sir. Housing and Community Affairs Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShun Danley.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in planning, personnel and organization.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on then to Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 2 items tonight to discuss. The first is to authorize city staff to seek abandonment of a sewer easement from Douglas County Board of Commissioners for private property located in the city's Kensington Park subdivision, including acceptance of the easement by the city if needed. Ms. Williams, can you help us with that, please?
Yes, sir. Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. As the item reads, we are asking for your support to approach the county and asking for abandonment of this easement. I was approached by Brent Holdings. I have with me Daniel Fields. He's the rep here with us tonight, but we were approached a few months ago to seek this on their behalf. The county has it. So the county has the easement. They got it in the 70s, and they never transferred it to WSA. They never used it, so it was never transferred. And so there's been some ongoing conversations between WSA and the county, and so it's kind of landed in our lap because Kensington Phase 2 is in the city, but the easement is owned by the county. So over time, of course, Kensington, this area was annexed into the city. And so we've gotten with legal, and so our best route at this point is to, with your support, approach the county, asking them if they would transfer it to us, and then at that point we could determine what we want to do, if that's abandoning it or charging a fee possibly to Brent Holdings. But I have with me tonight Daniel Fields. He's the rep for the developer.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Williams. I'd like to hear, my attachment is downloading, so I have no information in front of me, but I'm just curious, and I'm sure the group is, that what is the need, other than just for it to all be in the city, since Kensington Park is in the city, what is the need for the sewer easement to be brought into the city?
I'm happy to answer that. My name
Yes.
is Daniel Fields, here from Brent Holdings. As Ms.
Name and address, if you would, please, sir.
My name is Daniel Fields. My address is 270 North Jeff Davis Drive, Fayetteville, Georgia. That's
Thank you,
office. But in terms of getting the sewer easement to the city, I think it's because the property was annexed after the easement was in place. WSA decided they were not going to go along with the project that it was actually going to be used for in the 70s. They went a different direction, so it was never needed. And now, after it was in place, the property was subsequently annexed into the city, and now the county feels it right to give the easement to the city and then have the city abandoned. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. So you're asking for, the reason for it being abandoned is we can't abandon it if we don't have it, right? Okay, so once we receive it, then if it's not of any use to us, then we would abandon it to the developer as a part of a development track. Is that correct?
Correct. And what Daniel has shared with me, they're really trying to clear up the title for the bank.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, I understand. Questions, comments?
I do.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for bringing this information to us. Ms. Williams, is this an anomaly, or are there other pieces out in the city like this? Or this seems very cumbersome that it's been sitting there for 30 years or however long.
Honestly, I can't really speak to that. I haven't experienced it. This is my first one, but Ms. Littlefield may have more experience as it relates to that.
Okay. Are you aware of that, Ms. Littlefield?
I don't know of any others.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Anyone
Mr.
else?
Chairman.
Is there any reason that we would not accept it if they will give it up? I mean, we need to do that just to clear title for this piece of property. Ms. Littlefield, do you see any issue?
I don't have any concerns.
Thank you. Okay, seeing none other, then if there is no objection to this, then I would ask it to be placed on the consent agenda for Monday the 21st. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you coming in. We'll be back on it on Monday. Item B, consider a request for final plat approval for the purpose of subdividing into 69 lots for 34.188 acres in a portion of land lot 637, District 1, Section 3, Parcel 1, and land lot 636, District 1, Section 3, Parcel 4, and all of land lot 551, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 46. Application by Michelle McCauley, LaCroix Engineering, and Ms. Williams is going to introduce us to that.
Okay, Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. City staff has reviewed the application and the attachments, and we've determined that the proposed final plat meet the requirements of the UDO, so we ask for your support of this item. Ms. McCauley is with me to answer any additional questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. How are you, Ms. McCauley? Good.
Good evening. I'm Michelle McCauley. I work with LaCroix Engineering. We're located at 3475 Corporate Way in Duluth, Georgia. I'm here on behalf of our client, D.R. Horton. We're seeking a final plat for the second phase of the Gateway Village subdivision. This phase 1 was originally platted back in 2018. What this does, that was with 106 lots on 39 acres. This is the second phase. There will be one more phase that will ultimately connect it to Mulroney Mill. This is for 69 lots on 34 acres. Subsequent with this platting, the amenity area is also being finished as well for the community.
Which I think that was a requirement, I believe, as a part of the development.
You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
So in addition to city staff, Douglas County WSA has reviewed this final plat and both recommend approval.
Okay. Ms. Williams has already given us information concerning the validity of the final plat as far as it being within what our requirements are. Are there questions or concerns?
Mr. Chairman, the development, townhomes?
No, it's single family detached.
Family detached. How big are the
lots? The lot
well,
size.
I saw the lot size based on the plat.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't deal directly with the home building. This is just we're the engineering firm for the.
I was just curious.
If you've been through the community, it's my understanding that D.R. Horton will be continuing the same product. Sold very well, and they are eager to get going with the next phase.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Any others? Yes, Madam Mayor.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. It's good to see you. And I just wanted to make the comment that I rode through the Gateway Subdivision. I think that's the name of it.
Oh, Gateway Village, I believe.
Gateway Village, there you
right.
go.
There's some out parcels in the front that aren't a part of the single family when you come off of 92.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask, the amenities. And so it looks like everything is being sold. They're just selling really well.
Right.
But right in the front to the left, I guess, that's where the amenities are going to be.
No, the amenities is you come in off of 92.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if there's a map. You'll come in, there's a roundabout.
Yes.
The amenities just the back side of that roundabout. The two parcels that are on the front edge off of 92 are for commercial. Those are all parcels that are separate from the single family.
Okay. So
and the amenity is done. I mean, the pool's in. I mean, unfortunately, during this time, it's not open, but it's completed. So the homeowners will have access to it.
Well, good. The homes are selling, and they're really nice. They're nice development. So thank you so much. That's all I have, Mr.
City
Chairman.
staff's we've been pushing. They're selling so well that D.R. Horton is ready to get going on all of them. So
yeah, they're sold size in different lots too. Thanks.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question?
Yeah. You said something was a requirement for the development. I didn't hear what you said.
No, because of the standards of the UDO, the amenity area needed to be put in prior to the platting of this section of the subdivision. There's a requirement that a certain percentage, Mike Metler could read it right off to you verbatim, at a certain percentage of the development that the city requires that the amenity area be put in. So
And
it's
I know
in.
the second entrance off of
On Mulroney,
Road,
yeah.
is that, do you already control that property where that?
Yeah, but that's in the next phase, right? That connection will be made in the
You
next
control
phase.
the property, so that, I mean,
Yes.
that's not, you don't have, that's not a
No,
proposed.
No, it's just they phase development for land development purposes, but no, that connection's already there. The sewer is actually going there. We have an easement with WSA that connects the sewer all the way to Mulroney Mill.
I was going to be very upset if there was only one way in and out of
Oh,
this.
no, it'll be coming.
Okay. All right, that's all I had, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, then if you'll come back on Monday night, we'll
Thank you so
take this
much.
up for a vote. We thank you. Madam Mayor, my privilege to say that's all that we have under Planning and Development Committee tonight.
Believable.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I know. We'll move on to item number 11, Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Public Relations Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
No business this evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Public Safety Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am, I have some items.
Okay.
Item A, authorize the mayor to sign the 2020 Burn Justice Assistance Grant Certification. Captain Weaver?
Greg Weaver, 2083 Fairburn Road.
Mhm.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members
Good
of the
evening.
council. Madam Mayor, the burn grant is a federal U.S. Department of Justice grant for law enforcement. And it's a grant that we get every year. And this is just the certification for the chief executive officer of the city for you to sign.
Okay.
I believe it's already been voted on and approved.
Okay. Council members? Any question, Madam Mayor?
No, sir, I don't.
If it's council pleasure, I would like to put this on the consent agenda for Monday, please.
Looks good.
Okay, moving right along. You stay right on up.
Yes, sir.
Item B, adopt an ordinance to amend section 10-152 of the alcoholic beverage ordinance of the code of the city of Dagsphere to revise the eligibility requirements for the employee serving permit.
Yes, sir.
Captain Weaver.
When we first started looking at this ordinance and looking at maybe asking you to amend it, it was repetitive and a little bit wordy. If you have an opportunity to look at the ordinance, there are certain things that the chief can refuse to give a permit for, a serving permit for alcohol. It's a felony within 5 years previous to them applying for it, or 2 misdemeanors within 5 years previous of them applying for it. And then it goes on to list 4 other things. One of them would be DUI, pandering, prostitution, gambling, or illegal sale of a controlled substance. Well, illegal sale of a controlled substance is a felony which has already been covered at the top. So it really doesn't need to be there. Some of the other things the chief and I talked about when we were looking at this is, in my 27 years of law enforcement and the chief's more than 30 years of law enforcement, very seldom do you see someone with one of those other 3 offenses listed at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's all they have on their criminal history. Usually you're going to have 2, and it already covers 2 misdemeanors at the top. You know, our motto is we are one with our community. One of our core values is compassion. And the chief says we're in the middle of a pandemic. People need to work. The unemployment rate is way up. And because they've had 1 DUI should not exclude somebody from being able to work. You know, we all make mistakes, and generally the type of people that are taking these jobs are young, and young people make mistakes. And the chief feels like we should be given second chances in some of these situations. And as I said, most of the time, you're not going to see one of these offenses on a criminal history without having a second misdemeanor along with it, which would exclude them anyway. I'll be glad to answer questions.
Okay, council members?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Weaver, basically then what you're trying to do is just not be redundant in the ordinance. It's not necessarily that you're trying to reduce the requirements. It's
No,
just
we're not
you're
really
wanting
trying to
not be
reduce
redundant.
anything.
Okay.
Yes.
And I understand that if the previous statement said 2 or more misdemeanors within a 5-year period immediately prior to the application, then as you've said, has there been a situation, I'm not aware of it, has there been a situation where this has occurred and the chief is regularly denying pouring licenses to individuals? Do we see a lot of that in our community?
I can think of one time this year that it's happened.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Madam Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a couple of questions,
Yes,
Captain Weaver. So in this section, at the section 10-152, and it lists those 4 items, are we, because the lines are through here, are we saying that they're not applicable anymore? So someone can, for prostitution, gambling, DUI, and selling narcotics, they can still apply for an alcohol license?
If they only had one offense of that, because what we would like to do is go to the top part where it says 1 felony or 2 misdemeanors.
Yes, sir. So under C.
Yes, ma'am.
So it doesn't spell out what they are.
No, it could be anything. In fact, in some situations, it could be more stringent because it could be a suspended license or anything along those lines. Very minor charge could exclude them if they had 2 of them.
Okay. So 5 years. I don't know if that's enough time, but we'll just let the council think about it. I know we're doing second chances. I just had a family member very close that it takes more than 5 years. You know, if you have an addiction and you've been in and out of facilities. So I think there was a recommendation for maybe 7 years, or it used to be 10 years. If they do it in 5, it's great. It's kind of like a miraculous thing, but I wouldn't want to have someone have an alcohol license if they've had an alcohol problem.
Sure.
You know, if that was
and
an
we
addiction.
looked at other cities to see what they were doing, and most of them are in line with what we're asking, but some of them had up the years to 10 years rather than 5.
Right.
And things. Other cities had added to it instead of those 4 specific things. They just said any alcohol-related offenses, along with the 1 felony and 2 misdemeanors. So we're just more importantly trying to streamline the verbiage of it.
Yes, sir. Okay, and it's fine if that's the will of the council. I just know that, you know, like you said, some cities had 10, some had 7 and 5, and so I was just thinking about the years. Thank you. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other council members? Okay, and we're talking about employees serving permit, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that mayor, when an employee may be working in a restaurant and they're serving alcohol, they have to come before the chief in the ordinance to apply for a serving license to serve alcohol, serve drinks, and they have to have a permit when they're in the restaurants of wherever alcohol. Okay. All right, if there are no other questions, we'll put this back on the agenda for Monday. Okay, moving right along to item C is adopt an ordinance to amend the section 10-39, 10-78, and 10-106 of alcoholic beverage ordinance to revise the permit ending time for package sales of alcohol beverage on Sundays. Ms. Littlefield.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a follow-up to your discussion at your last meeting about whether you should extend the Sunday night package sales times to the new statutory maximum of midnight. I did want you to have a comparison with other types of serving times and their ending. You'll see a chart in your materials that shows you the ending times for sales of alcohol. That is the state maximum, what your city ordinance now says, and what Douglas County is doing. You will remember that in August, the state changed the package hours to match the pouring hours for Sundays and changed it to 11 a.m. to midnight. Douglas County recently enacted that midnight change too from their 11:30 time period. But I did want you to see that for package sales Monday through Saturday, the last call is at 11:45. Your current ordinance says 11:30. But for serving of poured alcohol, the times are a bit different, and the Sunday time for the last serving of poured alcohol, it remains 11:30, even though it could be midnight under the statute. You had expressed a desire to change the Sunday night package sales to 11:45 to match all the other days, and I have prepared an ordinance for that. Just need to know that that is what you want.
Okay. Madam Mayor, any questions from the council?
I don't have any.
Council? Okay, Councilor Edson?
I'm just trying to understand a little bit. Where did the 1145 come from in the first place? Was that state?
You know, I don't recall any discussion on that.
It seems like
very might well
an
be
odd.
It's hard to find, but in the Department of Revenue regulations, not in the state law itself, liquor, but not beer and wine, may be sold until 11:45, and it's quite possible that that's where it came from.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, Madam Mayor, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for my names, Council.
Could we maybe vote on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to vote as well.
All right. Madam Mayor, I'd like to put this on the agenda for Monday for a vote.
Okay, Councilman Davis, are you going to, there are two versions, are you going to make a recommendation for one or the other for Monday?
Chairman, if you'll get with me, I'll give you a alternate wording that suits your motion, and we'll be ready for Monday night.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Chairman Davis, for that. Under Public Safety, we'll move on to item 14, which is Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight. Item A, adopt the Downtown Douglasville Public Arts Master Plan as an amendment to the City of Douglasville's Livable Centers Initiative, LCI, plan and send to Atlanta Regional Commission, ARC. Ms. Williams.
Okay, Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. As you all are aware, we did adopt a public arts master plan a few months ago. And so what we've been asked to do at this point is to request that council adopt amendment to the LCI. So at some point we can potentially apply for funding that will go towards this plan.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Any questions? Hopefully everybody had a chance to look through the attachment. There's some good stuff in there. Can't wait to start seeing some of these things. You go to other cities and it really looks good. The art that's displayed, the different forms of it. So I think it's a great thing. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Excited.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Miller.
No, I just think it's exciting that we can be moving forward on this, having been around a number of towns and seeing what they're introducing. And if anybody gets a chance to go down to Noonan, of all places, they have this wonderful art program where they're putting murals on buildings, like photorealistic murals of actual residents in Noonan. And it's a wonderful experience to see. You just see it popping up in a lot of active buildings, abandoned buildings. You're seeing it everywhere. And it's just, there's so much richness out there in the art community that we can draw upon, I think, as an example. So there's a lot we can do with this. So
yeah,
that's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for those comments. Anybody else? All right. If there's no objections, I'll ask this to be placed on the consent agenda. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all I have tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you, Chairman Watts. We'll move on to Technology Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's no business at this time for the Technology Committee.
Thank you, sir. Transportation Committee, chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShun Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item. The item is to adopt the City of Douglasville Signage and Wayfinding Master Plan as an amendment to the City of Douglasville Livable Centers Initiative, which is also known as the LCI Plan, and to send it to the Atlanta Regional Commission. Ms. Wright?
Okay. Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. As you all are aware, we did adopt the signage wayfinding master plan as part of our branding initiative. And so we've been also asked to add this on to the LCI so we can potentially tap into funding.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Wright. Ms. Patrice, this is very exciting. Do we have any comments from our mayor or council members? Okay, if not, Madam Mayor, I'd like to request that we put this on the consent agenda for Monday night.
Okay, I don't see any opposition, so that would be great.
There are no other items.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other business from council members tonight? Yes, sir. Oh, it's Councilman Watts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got an email that apparently several others got. Won't name who it came from, but it was somebody seeking some type of help, financial hardship that apparently lives in the community. I ran this through IT. They said it was legit. When something like that comes to us, and I don't know who else got the same email, it wasn't just me that it was sent to, is there some type of, I mean, what can if I respond to this, or do we have somebody we can direct them to?
Yeah, if you would like, Councilman Watts, if you forward the email over to me, we'll either prepare a response for you to reply to the individual to send them in a particular direction, or we can respond to them on your behalf and copy you on it.
Thank you. That's all I had, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councilman Watts. Any other business from council members?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have some
yes,
other
ma'am.
business.
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to say thank you to Ms. Hampton for diligently working with one of our residents in the Lake Ridge subdivision, along with Councilman Davis, in regards to the erosion. WSA was very instrumental in getting some documentation to her. And Ms. Hampton, I just wanted to know, I think the homeowner stated that GDOT was going to try and come out possibly today while it was raining, and I was there with her, just driving by looking at her property. But I wanted to ask, when is the next meeting with GDOT, and can we actually get someone from GDOT to contact her?
Yes, ma'am. It was my understanding that Borden Polk with GDOT had contacted her, but I will have to verify with him that if that has happened. We have a meeting with GDOT once a month. That one has not been coordinated a date as of yet for the month of October, but I can get that to you, as well as verifying that she has had that follow-up meeting with Mr. Polk.
Okay, great. And I think that he has. But thank you. I think he was supposed to come out, so they are definitely following up. The other concern is I had just a phone call from a resident, Pastor John Rogers, stated that on Ellis Street there's been someone dumping trash on Ellis Street, and I just wanted to bring attention to that, and also that GDOT did make some preparations, some repair on that street, and they look really great. But also with GDOT, I think there are some items that Mr. Rogers would like to have taken care of. And it's just better when GDOT can communicate with the residents, especially when it's dealing with their own property. And I'll forward you the information.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Councilmember Byrd Danley. Any other comments? I thought I saw another. Was it you, Councilman Davis? Anybody else have any other business? There was a couple of announcements I wanted to make. This one is for Mr. Travis Landrum. It says that Mr. Landrum has been awarded the Georgia Recreation and Park Association Distinguished Professional Award. This is the highest award that GRPA can bestow on its members. So we're just very excited for Mr. Landrum, our Parks and Recreations Director. He is not here this evening, but could we just give him a hand for all of his hard work with the parks? It was such that's great. And then the other things for the police department, I wanted to thank you, Captain Weaver, and the police chief and the whole department for the food distribution that you all had participated in earlier this week. It was at the police department municipal facility, distributing 9,000 pounds of food with the Atlanta Food Bank. So thank you so much for doing that and feeding families in the community. I saw the chief and all the white shirts out there, so you all were lifting boxes and giving people food, and we I really appreciate that during this time with the pandemic and the many people having lost their jobs. So
thank you, Madam Mayor.
We appreciate that you're doing what you're doing in the community. So we'll move on then to updates from city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Captain Weaver from the Police Department.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Our City Manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. Just to note one item to you all, you may have heard while you've been in this meeting that we had a massive fire at the former Folks building on Highway 5. The reason I do mention that is because our community relations staff is dealing with some comments on Facebook regarding our involvement in decisions by the Douglas County Board of Commission with the fire department personnel and furloughs. I usually don't make comments on social media and what the feedback is, but essentially what the questions are is how and why we're not involved since we pay for fire services. So I just want to mention to remind you all that you are in the midst of a 10-year fire services agreement with Douglas County. That agreement does not end until 2025. And of course, that agreement just pays for the services. We do not get involved by any means when it comes to personnel decisions with the fire department. So if you all get asked that, the comments are going back and forth. I'm fairly certain individuals are frustrated, but I just wanted to remind you where that was and where we are in the contract with Douglas County.
Thank you so much, City Manager. And we'll open the floor for council members to make comments on that. And I have had, the City Manager and I have been fielding conversations and phone calls and emails since last week because of and it was in the paper one day this week about the fire department. But we have been receiving requests maybe for us to handle our own fire services in the city, like the City of Atlanta. But as it stands, as the City Manager said, we're in an agreement with Douglas County Board of Commissioners for fire services for through 2025. The two fire stations in the city is the one on Church Street, which is fire station number 10, and then the fire station on the north side. And some citizens asked me about the one on Chapel Hill, but of course Central Church is the center of the county, and the city side stops shy of Central Church and where that fire station is located on Chapel Hill, so that is in the county. But some of the requests, even from firefighters, called in and asked us to take over services, but we are in a agreement with the Board of Commissioners, and all of this stems from the Board of Commissioners' decision to have furloughs for all of their employees, which is inclusive of fire and public safety. And so I think it's a 5-day furlough for each employee, but I have been assured, talking with the Madam Chair, that she's had extensive conversations with Chief Spencer, and that there will not be any lapse of service. All the stations will be covered. The firefighters are going to take, I guess, an hour or 2 hours here, whatever they have, until the end of the year to have those 5 days taken, just like the other employees in the county. So I open the floor for comments or questions from and hopefully I can answer some. Yes, sir, Councilman
Thank you,
Adams.
Madam Mayor. I would direct this to our city manager. Ms. Hampton, would you mind, just for the record, just so that those that might be viewing this or listening would know the general basis of the contract that we have with the fire department? And I know, as you said, it's been in effect 5 years. I was on the council when it came about, and I think there was talk at that time of possibly the city going back to handling its own fire services. Can you give us any dollar amounts? Is that something we need to do or don't need to do as far as letting the citizens know?
I think just, for information purposes, so you all know, the state of Georgia is one of the states where counties and cities can provide the same service. So therefore, in order to determine for citizens so they're not paying for dual services, you all enter into a service delivery agreement. Your current service delivery agreement does not expire until 2024. So therefore, in that service delivery agreement, you all agreed for the county to provide fire, which they had been previously for many years. Upon doing the service delivery agreement, you entered into a 10-year agreement for fire services that began in 2015, where the agreement will expire in 2025. Your previous agreement, as I can recall, did not have a dollar amount. This agreement is approximately $1.6 million that you pay on an annual basis to Douglas County, and it also includes that a certain percentage of your SPLOS funds that you collect also have to go to Douglas County to provide for capital improvements that are within the fire department. That agreement does not involve any decision-making from us as it relates to operations nor personnel. The agreement we pay for the service to the citizens of the city.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton. I appreciate you updating us on that. I know it's very confusing when our citizens many times may or may not understand or realize where they're located and where the city limits are and where the fire stations are located. But because we do have that agreement, we are under contract with them for an additional 5 years. I'm not going to say that I would be a proponent of taking back the fire services. We actually assigned that to the county or gave that to the county 25, 30 years ago, a long time ago. And I don't know that if we were thinking of doing that, then we need to be talking about it now in order to be prepared for that extremely high capital expense that would have to be prepared for. So having said that, I just wanted to make sure that the citizens were aware that yes, we do have a monetary requirement, but we have zero input as to what is done. So it's not something the city has any control over.
And Councilman Adams, I think to your point, the other thing to add so individuals understand, when we looked at the fire services agreement, when we were looking at the cost, the $1.6 million was a far better financial position for the city to be in versus managing their own fire department. I can tell you that it would be far more expensive than $1.6 million a year.
Let me ask, I understand the agreement precludes us from any managerial decisions, but the county has basically, by furloughing firefighters, they're cutting the budget in the fire department. So the county is saving money. Should we not be due a refund of some of the money that we contribute to that, or is the county reaping all of the savings from the furloughs? Does that make any sense?
I would have to get the attorneys to look at the agreement to see if we would be deemed any refund, but I would doubt that we would get a refund.
I mean, it seems that we're paying, we're paying them X amount of money. They're going to they cut the budget then on the fire department, and they say they get to keep all the money that's cut.
I think what they're suggesting is that even with the furlough days, your level of service will continue. I think that's what they would argue.
Yes, and to the city manager's point, and to Councilman Adams for saying about the coverage, it would be precluding everything that you've talked about with us not being able to have managerial decisions or make those decisions because we're in a contractual agreement. We would have to take on 2 additional fire stations to cover the city of Douglasville. It would not just be downtown on the north side. We'd have to take the Chapel Hill fire station in addition to Tributary. So we do not. It would be very cumbersome and a huge expense for the city to take on.
I'm not advocating that.
Yes, sir. I know.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why we're not benefiting from the.
Being devil's
rebate.
advocate over there, aren't you?
What's that?
You're being devil's advocate over there, aren't you?
Exactly.
If you would like, I could ask Ms. Littlefield to look at the agreement, but I would pretty much gather we would not probably receive a refund.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not going to volunteer to give us money. I don't think that will happen.
Councilman Davis, did you have any comments?
Long time ago,
Mhm.
taking over. It's expensive.
It's unionized too. Councilmember Miller, you have any comments? She's been hesitant.
I really am. I understand completely that we're in an agreement with them, and so we don't have a say in what goes on. But I am a little curious to at what point they're in breach of contract.
Have the attorneys provide a response for you all?
Councilmember Danley? If you want to weigh in the conversation.
No, ma'am. I'm good. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Oh, you're welcome. I apologize. It was just a little delay. Thank you, Coach. I apologize. I thought you.
That's okay. I'm sitting over here like the redheaded stepchild. That's all right.
No, you're the silver fox. You didn't mean okay.
I have not heard of any major issues related to the fire department, the furloughs, and lack of service. Has that?
Councilman Watts, I know nothing of a lack of service. What I'm hearing is frustration from whether it be the public or employees for the request of the furlough days.
Yeah.
But as far as someone, contacting us saying that their service has been lacking, or in essence, I have not heard any of that.
Well, I know that we had to take a hard look, at the beginning of this pandemic. We had to furlough some folks.
Yes.
I'm not a big advocate of furloughing emergency personnel, but that's not my call. But, I think maybe the frustration is part of another issue that I'm not going to go into right now. Anyway.
Yes, sir. And the fire department came to Rotary before we could not have meetings, and really 80% of their services is beyond fires. I mean, today is a fire, but typically the EMS services and paramedics and all of that, they cover so much more, fire hydrants and just a whole lot of other things that they do outside of putting out fires. So those services have continued, and they have not had any lapse in services from my understanding. They're just, citizens are concerned with the furlough days. They didn't know if firefighters had to take 5 days, if there would be adequate coverage in the city of Douglasville and in the county. So we'll move on. Is that all you had, City Manager? Thank you so much. We're going item 19, which is staff reports, and we do have that under Councilman Chris Watts' committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have a staff report tonight on proposed personnel changes regarding the legal department. I'm assuming Ms. Littlefield will take this?
Yes, sir. Currently, you have an ordinance in your administration ordinance that says your attorneys can be either appointed or non-appointed as their job description provides, either one. But your charter is the standard language of the GMA model, and it's not a model of clarity with regard to that particular issue. As we do our succession planning in the legal department, it's probably advantageous to you to be able to employ attorneys either through appointment or as non-appointed personnel. The proposal is to clarify the charter so that it will match your ordinance so that you can do either or, appointed or non-appointed.
Anybody have any, what's the next step?
Mr. Chairman, I guess we're going to have a conversation to see what your recommendation is, what staff is recommending. Ms. Littlefield, since you've been in the position for a nice time to help the city through all these waters, you and Mr. Dotson, if that would be, from the legal standpoint, what you all's recommendation would be.
Well, I don't have a definitive recommendation with regard to whether it should be appointed or not appointed, but I do think you need the option, and you needed to have your two laws match.
Yes,
it would be advantageous to be able to have a non-appointed attorney. In some ways, it can be a little closer to the vest with regard to training, discipline, that sort of thing, for a brand new attorney to be able to be handled more directly through the city manager's office than directly by the council. In that training period, you're going to want to monitor someone very closely and see if they're catching on within the limited time that you have within the first 6 months. And so there are some advantages to having a non-appointed attorney.
And I think to clarify, so you all understand what we're referring to, this would be the staff attorney and not the chief assistant city attorney, the role that Ms. Littlefield serves in. These are two different positions. So what we're suggesting, as we mentioned to you all when we discussed Ms. Littlefield's retirement, we would be hiring a staff person that would train with Ms. Littlefield in hopes that eventually that individual would then be able to be promoted into the appointed role that she currently serves in. So if you all are satisfied with Ms. Littlefield's recommendation of changing the laws, then our next steps would be to advertise for the position next week. We would do the vetting with the current legal staff, hopefully find someone within the next month or so, and that individual would then work with Ms. Littlefield over time. And then when we get to the spring prior to Ms. Littlefield retiring, we would bring that person to you all to possibly be appointed.
Okay.
So Coach, what we need then is an agreement with the ordinance and the charter, and this will do it, so that we would have the opportunity either to use a staff attorney to be trained under Ms. Littlefield and then to potentially be placed in that position as an appointed official, and we need those to match.
Yes, sir. This will
Makes
give
too
me,
much sense.
This will give me the go-ahead to advertise for that charter change and bring it to you
Definitely.
later for a vote.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It looks
Good
like the
motion.
will of the council. Anybody else have any? Ms. Danley? Do you have any questions?
Sir? No, thank you. No questions.
Ma'am. Well, looks like
Thank you.
we're good with your recommendation, Ms. Littlefield.
We'll get it
So,
started. Thank you.
thank you. Madam Mayor, that's all I had tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to item 20, which is comments from citizens and delegates. The floor is open now. If you'd like to speak to us about any matters or potential matters pertaining to the City of Douglasville business, you can come to the podium and give your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes. Okay.
Hello, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
My name is Marshall Phipps. My address is 79 Brookside Court in Villa Rica.
Mhm.
I came to give you all a general update regarding what's going on with my team and the Hunter Park train. Unfortunately, it's sort of a combination of good news and bad news. The bad news is that one of my team members, Larry Pierce, you know, the guy with the beard who occasionally shows up, he unfortunately contracted COVID-19 and he is still in the hospital, so that kind of slowed things down. I recently talked to him. It's not doing too hot, but he just told me just to keep him updated on what's going on. The good news is that we were able to acquire the funding to start paperwork with the IRS to get our 501 nonprofit status approved. And I started talks with the Water Service Authority regarding the area where the train tracks used to go over those pipes near the main building, since they told me I may or may not have to get a permit for that later on down the line.
Okay.
But hopefully soon we should be able to get that paperwork submitted, and hopefully maybe by 2021 we can get our profit status approved and we can go from there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Phipps. We wish Mr. Pierce the best and that he will recover.
Indeed.
You're welcome. Any other comments from citizens and delegates? Thank you. Not seeing any. If there is not any other business to come up for council tonight, this meeting is adjourned.
Goodbye.